Of the 8 people preparing for tonight's show, only one will take home the prize money of up to £20,000. The others will leave with nothing after their own teammates vote them the weakest link.
Welcome to the weakest link. Any of the 8 people in the studio here tonight could win up to £20,000. They don't know each other, however. If they want the prize money, they'll have to work as a team. But 7 of them will leave with nothing, as round by round we lose the player voted the weakest link. Let's meet the team.
I'm Peter. I'm 42 years old and I'm a police officer from Sheffield in South Yorkshire.
I'm Mark, I'm 36, I'm a quality manager from West London.
I'm Angie, I'm 35, I'm from Sunderland and I deal in business banking.
I'm Keith, I'm 62, I'm a taxi driver from Barby near Rugby.
I'm Jeannie, I'm 32, I'm a publican from Broughton in Cambridgeshire.
I'm Jo, I'm 29, I'm a supervisor in a sandwich factory and I live in Leicester.
I'm Ian, I'm a 27-year-old electrician from Bradford.
I'm Carolyn, I'm 52 and I'm a housewife from Mortonsay in Shropshire.
Now the rules, in each round the aim is to answer enough questions correctly to reach your £2,500 target within the time limit. The fastest way is to create a chain of 8 correct answers. Get your question wrong and you break the chain and lose all the money in that chain. But if you say bank before the question is asked, the money is safe. However, you start a new chain from scratch. Remember, at the end of the round, only money that has been banked can be taken forward. In round 1, there are 2.5 minutes on the clock. We'll start with the person whose name is first alphabetically. That's you, Angie. Let's play the weakest link. First question is for £50. Start the clock. Angie, with which sport would you associate Monica Seles?
Tennis.
Correct. Keith, complete the well-known saying, rain, rain, go away, come again another what?
Day.
Correct. Jeannie, in cookery, applesauce is traditionally served with which meat?
Pork.
Correct. Joe, complete the title of the 1993 film starring Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan, Sleepless in where?
Seattle.
Correct. Ian, in the animal kingdom, what type of creature is a stingray?
A fish.
Correct. Carolyn.
Bank.
Which legendary British character robbed from the rich and gave to the poor?
Robin Hood.
Correct. Peter, in pop music, whose 1981 UK #1 album was entitled Shaky?
Shakin' Stevens.
Correct. Mark, in money, a regular payment made by a bank on a customer's behalf is known as a direct what?
Debit.
Correct. Angie, in nature, what S is the name given to the marine plants found living in the sea or on the seashore?
Pass.
Seaweed. Keith, former Prime Minister Harold Wilson said a week is a long time in what?
Politics.
Correct. Jeannie, through which of the following does sound travel faster, air or water?
Air.
Water. Joe, in nature, what name is given to an artificial home for bees?
Aviary.
No, a hive. Ian, in the Hans Christian Andersen story, which vegetable was placed beneath a stack of mattresses to test a princess?
A pea.
Correct. Carolyn, in music, which Cockney duo had a UK top 10 hit in 1980 with Rabbit?
Pass.
Chaz and Dave. Peter,
Bank.
according to tradition, the Pied Piper led which creatures away from Hamlin?
Rats.
Correct. Mark, in the animal kingdom, what K is an Australian bird known for its laughing song?
Kookaburra.
Correct. Angie.
Bank.
The organisation FIFA is associated with which sport?
Football.
Correct. Keith, the UK TV programme about collectors of old artefacts and furniture is called The What Roadshow?
The antiques.
Correct. Jeannie, in nature, a popular pancake syrup is extracted from the sap of which variety of tree?
Maple.
Correct. Joe, complete the title of the 1971 gangster film starring Michael Caine, Get Who?
Don't know.
Carter. Ian, in politics, Sir Geoffrey Howe is associated with which party?
Conservatives.
Correct. Carolyn,
Bank.
in food, what name is given to young pilchards that are normally sold in tins?
Anchovies.
Sardine. Time is up, and of the £2,500 you could have won in that round, you sadly only put in your kitty £1,150. Now, you know the score. Who would it be a disaster to keep on the team? I urge you, ditch the ditherer, drop the dead wood. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
Ian is the first strongest link. The statistics show that Joe is the weakest link. But at this early stage of the game, what factors will the team take into account as they vote?
OK, voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Joe.
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 Joe. Carolyn.
Joe.
Joe.
Carolyn,
Yes.
how's it going for you?
Up and down a bit, Anne.
Up and down a bit.
Yeah.
What do you do, Carolyn?
I'm a housewife.
Good. Where from?
Shropshire.
Whereabouts in Shropshire?
Morton Say.
Morton Say. What
Yes.
sort of place is Morton Say?
Very
Carolyn?
small.
Very small. Very exclusive, perhaps.
Not exclusive, no, because I
Oh.
live there.
You live there, right. But you don't have pilchards in Morton Say.
No, we do have anchovies.
You do say it must be pretty posh.
There you go.
Would Jo fit in at Morton Say?
Joe would certainly fit in at Morton Say.
So,
Yes.
but she doesn't fit in here, does she?
No, she doesn't, I'm afraid.
Why?
Because she got 2 questions wrong.
Angie,
Yeah.
how's it going for you?
Fine. Got one question wrong, but it was a hard one.
Oh, was it?
For me, yeah.
What do you do?
I deal with business customers in a bank.
Do you?
Yeah.
Right, so you're putting on your pleasant face tonight, are you?
I always have a pleasant face, Anne.
Why, Jo?
Easy questions. I think she's a few fries short of a Happy Meal tonight, so she's got to go.
You don't think bees live in an aviary, do you?
Bees? No, bees live in a hive.
Jo, who makes sandwiches, rather worryingly thinks bees live in an aviary.
I was thinking of apiary and got my words mixed up.
Unanimously, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Someone's got to have been voted off first, and I deserved it. I was absolutely rubbish. To use one of Angie's phrases, I'm a sandwich short of a picnic at the moment, and I am the weakest link. Goodbye.
Round 2, you've won £1,150 so far out of a possible £2,500. There are 7 of you left. You've got rid of Jo, the sandwich supervisor, who thinks bees live in an aviary. But the good news is you've still got Carolyn from Morton Say, who thinks pilchards are really anchovies. We are now taking 10 seconds off the clock. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's you, Ian. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Ian, in maths, what is 25% expressed as a fraction?
A quarter.
Correct, Carolyn. According to the saying, someone making a bad start has started off on the wrong what?
Foot.
Correct.
Bang.
Peter, in the animal kingdom, what F is another term used to describe a herd of sheep?
A flock.
Correct, Mark. Stephen Mangan played which diarist in the 2001 TV series The Cappuccino Years?
Adrian Mole.
Correct, Angie. According to tradition, which item of jewellery is given by a groom to his bride on their wedding day?
Pass.
A ring. Keith, in the Roald Dahl book, what type of factory did Willy Wonka own?
Chocolate factory.
Correct, Jeannie. In theatre, complete the title of the musical based on the play The Matchmaker. Hello, who?
Dolly.
Correct, Ian. In photography, what is a print that has been blown up?
Enlargement.
Correct, Carolyn. The actor Aristotle Savalis was better known by which first name?
Telly.
Correct, Peter. In music, complete the title of Barry White's 1974 UK hit single, You're the First, the Last, My What?
Everything.
Correct, Mark.
Bank.
What type of animal is a red snapper?
A fish.
Correct, Angie. In food, what is the main ingredient of hash browns?
Potato.
Correct, Keith. A small quantity of alcohol taken as a remedy for a hangover is known as hair of the what?
Dog.
Correct, Jeannie. In geography, in which country of the UK is the county of Gwynedd?
Wales.
Correct. Ian, in which sport is the net higher, tennis or badminton?
Badminton.
Correct. Carolyn,
Bank.
what bee is the name given to the tall fur hat worn by certain British soldiers?
Busby.
Correct. Peter, according to tradition, which species of animal supposedly helped Santa to deliver presents to children all round the world?
Reindeer.
Correct. Mark, in music, how many members of the Beatles were there?
4.
Correct. Angie,
Bank.
in food, what is the name given to the American double-decker sandwich made with at least 2 fillings?
Cheeseburger.
Club sandwich. Keith, in politics, Jacques Chirac became president of which country in 1995?
France.
Correct. Jeannie, in maths, how much would you spend on 3 boxes of chocolates at £4 each?
£12.
Correct. Ian, in the animal
Bank.
kingdom, are mites classified as arachnids or rodents?
Arachnid.
Correct. Carolyn, what is
Bank.
the floral emblem of Switzerland?
Edelweiss.
Correct. Time is up. And you managed to bank £2,450 in that round of the £2,500 available to you. But who is not up to the standard of the rest of the team? Who is too slow or even too stupid to stay? It's time to vote off the weakest link.
After a successful second round, Carolyn is the strongest link. Angie is the weakest link according to the statistics, although she did bank some money for the team. But who will lose out in the vote?
OK, voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Angie.
Angie.
Keith.
Angie.
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 Carolyn!
Me again, Anne.
They'll be choking on their anchovy sandwiches in Morton Say, won't they?
Yes, they certainly will.
Because you got all your questions right in that round.
That's amazing.
It is.
I'm rather thrilled.
And you were the strongest link,
Never.
statistically.
Oh, fantastic.
What's Angie done to upset you?
Absolutely nothing, but unfortunately, a wedding ring is a wedding ring, and it just was rather an easy question.
Peter, what do you do?
I'm a police officer.
Are you?
Yes.
What rank are you?
I'm a constable.
You're a constable. So, PC Peter, why have you voted for Angie?
She was uncharacteristically weak in that round.
Angie from Sunderland. You don't know what piece of jewellery a man gives a woman on her wedding day.
I try to forget.
Angie,
Yes.
it's time to go back to Sunderland. With 6 votes, you don't have to go back to your husband. You do have to go back to Sunderland. You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
The question I'm really embarrassed about is the wedding ring. But I had garter in my mind. I couldn't get garter out of my mind, and I knew it wasn't jewellery. And by the time I flustered and flummoxed, I'd just pass. I'd like to see Keith go off next. He's been annoying me all day. The rest of the group's been fine. So hopefully he's the next one off.
Round 3. So far, you have in the kitty £3,600 out of a possible £5,000. You're down to 6 players. We're taking another 10 seconds off the clock. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Carolyn. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Carolyn, in the TV comedy Only Fools and Horses, which character had the catchphrase lovely jubbly?
Del Boy.
Correct. Peter, the former British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher was known as the Iron what?
Lady.
Correct. Mark, in the USA, Idaho Falls is a city in which state?
Idaho.
Correct. Keith, in biological classification, what F is the family of mammals to which cats belong?
Feline.
Correct.
Bank.
Jeannie, in pop music, Welcome to the Pleasure Dome was a UK hit album in 1984 by which British band?
Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
Correct. Ian, in science, what is the opposite of repulsion?
Propulsion.
Attraction. Carolyn, in the animal kingdom, what is the meaning of the Aboriginal word koala? No water or small bear?
Small bear.
No water. Peter, in TV, which Cockney comedian now hosts the Generation Game?
Jim Davidson.
Correct. Mark, in fashion, what name refers to a set of rules regarding acceptable style of attire?
Dress code.
Correct. Keith, the Star of Africa and the Jubilee are types of which precious gemstone?
Diamond.
Correct. Jeannie, in Spain, which food is used in the fight at the annual La Tomatina Festival?
Orange.
Tomatoes. Ian, in tennis, which Swedish player won the men's French Open every year between 1978 and 1981?
Bjorn Borg.
Correct, Carolyn. In biology, in which body fluid can plasma be found?
Blood.
Correct,
Bank.
Peter. Which small dog takes its name from the German for badger dog?
Dachshund.
Correct, Mark. In pop music, Mick Fleetwood was the drummer with which band?
Fleetwood Mac.
Correct, Keith. In football, which position did Pat Jennings play during his professional career?
Goalkeeper.
Correct, Jeannie.
Bank.
In language, which slang word for prison is said to come from the name of a jail in Southwark?
Pass.
Clink. Ian, in human biology, which are larger, capillaries or veins?
Capillaries.
Veins. Carolyn, in the animal kingdom, what kind of creature is a nightjar?
It's a bird.
Correct, Peter. In which country were the first modern Olympic Games held in 1896?
France.
Greece. Mark, in fashion, what year? Time is up. And after all that work in that round, you banked a very disappointing £800. Who would you be better off without? Who is perhaps too bewildered and dazzled to stay? One of you is about to leave with nothing. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
Keith is the strongest link. The statistics show that Ian is the weakest link. But will the other players have spotted this?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Ian.
Carolyn.
Jeannie.
Ian.
Jeannie.
Jeannie.
Carolyn from Morton Say.
Yes, Anne.
Why have you voted for Jeannie?
Unfortunately, I think she was the weakest link, but I was very loath to do it.
Well, she wasn't the weakest link, was she, Ian?
No, she wasn't, and I was, I'm afraid.
What happened to you in that round?
Just a poor round. I shall be back.
That's if you have a chance. Jeannie, you were not the weakest link. You certainly weren't the brightest member of the team. 3 votes. The team want you off. Goodbye.
Ian, I feel very mean towards now because he was the weakest link and he voted for me, so I'm not happy. The question I got wrong was about tomato, and I can't believe I got it wrong because I work in catering and I should know everything to do with food, and it all just went pear-shaped.
Round 4. So far, team, you've banked £4,400 out of potential prize money of £7,500. There are 5 of you left. You have got rid of Joe, the sandwich supervisor, Angie, the banker, and Jeannie, the publican. But the good news is you've still got posh Carolyn from Morton Say. 1 more woman left on the team. We are taking another 10 seconds off the clock. You now have only 2 minutes. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Keith. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Keith, in the pop world, what's the name of the 1997 film starring the Spice Girls?
Spice Forever.
Spice World. Ian, which group of islands in the Mediterranean Sea includes Mallorca, Minorca and Ibiza?
The Balearic Islands.
Correct, Carolyn. In Arthurian legend, which magician guided the destiny of King Arthur?
Merlin.
Correct, Peter.
Bank.
In nature, what H is Britain's largest wasp?
Hornet.
Correct, Mark. In music, Erasure released cover versions of which Swedish band's songs in 1992?
ABBA.
Correct, Keith. In which English county would you find the towns of Reading, Bracknell and Eton?
Berkshire.
Correct, Ian. In Greek mythology, which Zed was called the father of both gods and men?
Zeus.
Correct, Carolyn. In the Bible, who broke the original 10 Commandment tablets when he discovered the idolatry of the Israelites?
Moses.
Correct, Peter.
Bank.
How many kilograms are there in 3 metric tons?
Absolutely no idea.
3,000. Mark, which city is closer to London, Madrid or Berlin?
Berlin.
Correct, Keith. In the animal kingdom, what type of reptile is a flying dragon?
Bat.
A lizard. Ian, in America, what was the surname of John Harvey, the food manufacturer famous for producing cereals?
John Harvey Kellogg.
Correct. Carolyn, in music, which US pop act had 1988 UK hit singles with Push It and Twist and Shout? Salt and Pepper or Salt and Vinegar?
Pass.
Salt and Pepper. Peter, the 1996 film The English Patient is set at the end of which World War?
The Second World War.
Correct. Mark, with which sport would you associate Leon Spinks?
Boxing.
Correct. Keith, in literature, who illustrated the first edition of The Tales of Peter Rabbit by Beatrix Potter?
Pass.
Beatrix Potter. Ian, in the animal kingdom, which mammal is known as the large cat bear in China?
Tiger.
The panda. Carolyn, which West End show features the songs Razzle Dazzle and All That Jazz? Correct. Time is up. And you put into the kitty £1,100 in that round, but whose time is up? Who is now past their best? It's time to vote off the weakest link.
Mark was the only player to answer all of his questions correctly, making him the strongest link. Keith has gone from strongest link to weakest, but will his earlier strong performance be enough to save him?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Keith.
Keith.
Peter.
Keith.
Keith.
Mark, what do you do?
I'm a quality manager.
Where do you work?
Nowhere at the moment. I'm unemployed at the moment.
Right. Is that because your quality is too high or their quality is too high?
Oh, well, they didn't realise the quality they had made me redundant, so
Right.
that was their choice.
Keith's quality not good enough?
Not in that round, unfortunately. No, I remember him getting a couple of questions wrong, and I think he needs to lie down now.
PC Peter, have you got any qualifications?
None to speak of. I'm a fellow of the Institute of Supervisory Managers.
Right. And you can't do a bit of metric arithmetic?
I'm afraid I am to maths what you are to smiling a stranger at.
So if I'm going at 40 miles an hour and you catch me, and the speed limit's 30, I'm in a good deal of trouble or not? Or can you not work out the difference between 30 miles an hour and 40 miles an hour?
I think I'll have to plead the fifth on that one.
Does the fifth come after the fourth, or wouldn't you know? Why have you voted for Keith?
I genuinely thought he answered the most questions wrong.
Right. Keith, remind us what you do.
I'm a taxi driver.
Yeah, all your tyres went flat on that round,
I
didn't
certainly
they?
did.
With 4 votes, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I think it's totally fair. I should be here on that round. I was the strongest link the round before, but I was the weakest link in that round, and I'm afraid I had to go. I got the questions wrong in that round once because the Spice Girls, I don't even know who they are or what they are, and I've never read Beatrix Potter.
Round 5. Your total so far is £5,500. If you'd hit your targets, it would be 10,000. There are 4 of you left, another 10 seconds coming off the time. We start with the strongest link from the last round, that's Mark. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Mark, in geography, which Southeast Asian island state is situated off the southern tip of the Malay Peninsula?
Singapore.
Correct. Ian, in the human body, which C is the hard connective tissue that is composed mainly of collagen?
Pass.
Cartilage. Carolyn, in sport, which famous former West Indian cricketer hit more sixes than any other during his Test career?
Sir Gary Sobers.
Viv Richards. Peter, in language, a neddy is another name for which 4-legged animal?
A horse.
A donkey. Mark, in which country was the composer Sergei Rachmaninoff born?
Russia.
Correct. Ian, in TV, where was the Australian drama The Flying Doctors set? Cooper's Crossing or Summer Bay?
Cooper's Crossing.
Correct. Carolyn, to
Bank.
which order of animals does the hamster belong? Rodents or primates?
Rodents.
Correct. Peter, in nature, from which continent did potatoes originate?
America.
South America. Mark, in which city would you find LaGuardia Airport?
New York.
Correct. Ian, in 1857, the title of Prince Consort was bestowed on whom by Queen Victoria?
Thomas à Becket.
Prince Albert. Carolyn, Complete the title of Ernest Hemingway's 1952 work, The Old Man and the Wasp.
C.
Correct. Peter, what type of shop did Hugh Grant's character own in the 1999 film Notting Hill?
A bookshop.
Correct. Mark,
Bank.
the name of which fast-moving member of the cat family comes from the Hindi for having a speckled body?
A Jaguar?
A cheetah. Ian, in pop music, which boy band released a cover of Uptown Girl in aid of comic relief?
Westlife.
Correct. Carolyn, the actor Jean-Claude Van Damme is known as the Muscles from where?
Brussels.
Correct. Peter, what in
Bank.
common law is the worst classification of crime? Misdemeanor, felony or treason?
Treason.
Correct. Mark,
Bank.
in which country is... Time is up. I cannot complete the question. And in that round, you banked a disappointing £350. Who has outstayed their welcome? Whose edges have started to fray? You need to be ruthless to be rich. It's time to vote off.
Mark is the strongest link for a second time. And for the second time, Ian is the weakest link. But will he survive another vote?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Ian.
Ian.
Peter.
Ian.
PC Peter, do they call you Speedy back at the Nick?
Strangely enough, they do.
Do they? Is that a joke?
No, it's on account of I'm a fast runner.
Your brain doesn't catch up with you though, does it?
Not in that last round, I know.
I mean, I asked you a legal question and we nearly fell asleep waiting for you.
Had to make sure I got that one right.
What's wrong with Ian?
Nothing whatsoever, I just thought he got the most questions wrong.
Right. Ian, what do you do?
I'm an electrician.
God, I hope your wiring's better than your history.
Yes, it was a
You think Thomas à Becket was married to Queen Victoria, do you?
No, no, no. I misheard the question, Anne, to be honest.
Oh, right. Do you know people only say that when they don't know the answer?
Well, yes.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Very disappointed. Very, very disappointed. I hope the rest of the team don't win another penny. I had expectations of winning, but I feel very let down by the male members of the remaining team. I would have thought they might have been in cahoots, thought let's get the woman out, because she wasn't that good in that round anyway.
Round 6, there's £5,850 in the kitty out of a possible £12,500. There are 3 of you left. You've got rid of the banker, the taxi driver, the publican, the sandwich supervisor and the electrician. But you've still got PC Speedy and Carolyn from Norton Say. Another 10 seconds is coming off the clock. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Mark. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Mark, which British classical composer famous for the planets was also a teacher at St Paul's Girls' School?
Holtz.
Correct. Carolyn, what C describes the code of behaviour followed by medieval knights?
Pass.
Chivalry. Peter, what is the surname of Brian, the Canadian rock star who released a greatest hits album entitled So Far So Good?
Adams.
Correct. Mark, in literature, in which century did the writer Graham Greene live and work?
20th.
Correct. Carolyn, in
Bank.
film, which actress co-starred with Michael Douglas in the 1984 comedy Romancing the Stone?
Catherine Pass.
Kathleen Turner. Peter, in which English county would you find Shrewsbury and Telford?
Gloucester.
Shropshire. Mark, in which country was the artist Edgar Degas born?
Spain.
France. Carolyn, in Norse mythology, what was stolen from Thor?
Stone.
His hammer. Peter, in which decade was Mahatma Gandhi assassinated?
The 40s.
Correct. Mark, in
Bank.
the British peerage, which is the higher degree of nobility, Baron or Viscount?
Viscount.
Correct. Carolyn, in which American city might you travel from Union Square to Fisherman's Wharf by cable car?
San Francisco.
Correct. Peter, in TV, which men behaving badly actors starred in the second series of Jeeves and Wooster?
Martin Clunes.
Correct. Mark,
Bank.
in theatre, Lionel Baglighter was the original name of which famous songwriter and composer?
Lionel Bart.
Correct. Carolyn, Gwyneth Paltrow and Judi Dench both won Oscars for which 1998 film set mainly in the theatre?
Elizabeth.
Shakespeare in Love. Peter, in sport, which car manufacturer provides the engines for the Formula One motor racing team McLaren?
Jaguar.
Mercedes. Time is up. You bagged £350. Now, in round 7, you get the chance to double what you bank, and that means in the next round, potentially, there's £5,000 to be won. The question is, who's going to be shown the door? Have the courage to vote off the weakest link.
For the third time, Mark is the strongest link. Carolyn is the weakest link. But at this crucial stage of the game, who will lose out in the final vote?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Carolyn.
Carolyn.
Mark.
PC Peter, you know how they say if you want to know the way to go, ask a policeman? There wouldn't be much point in your case, would there?
Probably not, no.
You can't add up. You don't know any geography. Why Carolyn?
I thought she answered the most questions wrong.
Mark from Quality Control.
Yes, Anne.
Why Carolyn?
I think she answered the most wrong, and she voted for me there, so I made the right decision.
Well, Carolyn, in Morton Say, no chivalry in Morton Say.
The age of chivalry must be dead, Anne, absolutely.
Right, and we've had enough of you. With 2 votes, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Absolute bummer of a round. I don't think I got a question right. So I just deserve to be voted off. It's really sad.
Round 7, you've won £6,200 out of a possible £15,000. Peter and Mark, 2 of you left, and this time you have only 90 seconds. But whatever you win in this round will be doubled and added to your total to make up your final prize money. So £5,000 is at stake in this round. We start with the strongest link from the last round, that's Mark. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Mark, in law, was Interpol formed before or after World War II?
Before.
Correct. Peter, in classical music, which well-known duo wrote the operetta The Sorcerer?
Gilbert and Sullivan.
Correct. Mark,
Bank.
in food, a frittata is what type of Italian egg dish?
Pasta.
Omelette. Peter, in history, the conspiracy to kill King James I at the 1605 opening of Parliament is known as the what plot?
The Gunpowder Plot.
Correct. Mark,
Bank.
in Cockney rhyming slang, if you gave someone a goose's neck, what would it be?
Check.
Correct. Peter, in sport, which country does Kenny Logan represent at rugby union?
South Africa.
Scotland. Mark, originally called Bishop's Lynn in the Middle Ages, in which English county is the town of King's Lynn?
Norfolk.
Correct.
Bank.
Peter, in money, how many European cents make up €1?
100.
Correct. Mark, in film, what was the name of the 1983 sequel to Saturday Night Fever starring John Travolta?
Pass.
Staying alive. Peter, in science, in which century did Benjamin Franklin use a kite to prove that lightning was electrical?
The 19th century.
18th century. Mark, in geography, what P is a dry, barren plateau extending over southern Argentina and Chile?
Patagonia.
Correct.
Bank.
Peter, in literature, Matthew Neal's novel, named as the 2000 Whitbread Book of the Year, is called English what?
Patient.
Passengers. Mark, Chattanooga National Military Park in America commemorates which war?
The War of Independence.
American Civil War. Peter, what fraction is a 6 plus a half? Time's up. The answer is 2/3, which you're still wondering about, no doubt. You won £300 in that round, which will double and add to the winnings from the previous rounds. That means total prize money this evening of £6,800. But of course, only one of you can take that money away. So now you will be playing against each other head to head. I'll ask alternate questions, best of 5. Whoever answers the most correctly wins. It's as simple as that. If there's a tie after 5, we'll go for sudden death until we have a winner. So, Peter and Mark, for £6,800, let's play the weakest link. Mark, as the strongest link in the last round, you have the choice of who goes first.
I'd like to go first, please.
Mark, in the animal kingdom, the brown Swiss and the red Cindy are types of which farm animal?
Cow?
That is the correct answer. Peter, in which year of the 1980s did the Duke and Duchess of York get married?
1982.
Correct answer is 1986. Mark, in which month is St. Swithin's Day?
August.
The correct answer is July. Peter, in horse racing, which Grand National winner was named after Alistair, David, Nicola and Timothy, the grandchildren of his breeder, Tommy Barron?
Aldeniti.
That is the correct answer. Mark, in EastEnders, the Queen Victoria pub is at the corner of Albert Square and which street?
Bridge Street.
That is the correct answer. Peter, in which European city is the World Trade Organization based?
Brussels.
No, the answer is Geneva. Mark, which British evolutionary biologist wrote the books The Selfish Gene and The Blind Watchmaker?
Darwin.
No, the answer is Richard Dawkins. Peter, to pull level. In Stanley Kubrick's film A Clockwork Orange, who was Alex's favourite classical composer?
Mozart.
No, it was Beethoven. Mark, if you answer this question correctly, you have won. So for £6,800. In Greek mythology, who was the last king of Troy?
Paris.
No, the answer is Priam. Peter, in theatre, which play by Tom Stoppard is a comedy based on two minor characters from Hamlet?
Morganson and Guildenstern are dead? Something like that?
No, close, but the correct answer is Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. That means, Mark, you are today's strongest link and you go away with £6,800. Peter, you leave with nothing. Coming up next on BBC One, it's only TV, but I like it. Join us again for The Weakest Link.
My overall gameplay was just to try and avoid the walk of shame. And I managed to do that, so I count myself a winner.
It feels really great to have won. I really didn't expect to.
I knew the answers to the questions at the end, but no go, no show.
When I got to the final, I thought, right, I'm gonna blow it now, I'm sure. But yeah, I did it. I won. I can't believe it.